Sup, nerds? So, I've been following some of this backlash stuff over The Last Jedi, and I have to say that I don't agree with all of it, and I don't disagree with all of it. I went and saw The Last Jedi. I took my family. It wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't good. I'll say this. I was excited when The Force Awakens came out. I thought, new Star Wars movies. Oh man, the main character is going to be a hot chick version of Luke Skywalker. This is going to be awesome. I don't mind chicks being the central point of the storyline. I mean, Wonder Woman was cool / hot. Hashtag Gal Gadot is a babe. But I think what the fans are really upset about is the story wasn't very good. And I think they would have forgiven a lot of it if the scenes between Luke and Rey had gone quite a bit differently. And I've actually been kind of writing, I guess, like a redo, because I think if you just reshot Luke and Rey's scenes so that they lined up better with what was already set up in The Force Awakens, then, well, I don't think the fans would be 100% happy, but I think they would be happier. Because nobody wanted to tune in to see Luke Skywalker be a bitter old man that throws his lightsaber off the cliff because he doesn't give a shit. Nobody wanted to see that. I didn't want to see that. I've been kind of toying, like, in my head about what I would have wanted to see, and I'll just kind of walk you through kind of something along the lines of what I was hoping for. So, I mean, this basically boils down to fan fiction, and there's only 2 people who subscribe to my channel, so if either one of you watch this, then thanks, buddy. Or rather, there you go. There's my symbol right there. The gangster Vulcan sign. I think it's fun. But anyway, what I would have liked to see is, I mean, you can leave all the battle stuff at the beginning where, Poe does the crank call and then blows up the turrets on that one thing. And then they have space bombers which create gravity. What happened to the Y-Wings? Why did they stop using those? Anyway. So, you have the scene set up where Rey is holding out the lightsaber to Luke Skywalker, right? So, Rey walks up, she holds out her hand to Luke Skywalker, lightsaber in it, and he turns to look at her with this kind of brooding look on his face. And then suddenly he just disappears, just vanishes like a ghost. For a second, Rey is confused. She looks around, wondering what happened, and then suddenly, several yards further on, Luke reappears. He crosses his arms inside of his robes and starts walking up the trail, up the mountain. Rey, pensive, puts her lightsaber back in her bag and follows the apparition. Every time she starts to catch up to him, the ghost version of Luke disappears and reappears further up the trail. This goes on for maybe a couple minutes. Then they reach the opening to the small cave that has that meditation circle in it. And Rey catches up to the ghost, and the ghost kind of waves her inside. Cautiously, she climbs inside the cave, where she is face to face with Luke Skywalker. His feet are crossed in the lotus position, his hands, up doing one of these things, meditating. He's got to focus on his chakras if he wants to become more powerful. That's what you got to do. You got to focus on the chakras. When she walks in, it seems like gravity itself has been suspended in this cave. There's a definite feeling of power, of intense power when she walks in. Small sparks are crackling between bits of debris that are in the air, pebbles, small rocks, things like that. It feels like the very air is charged with static. Instinctively, Rey walks forward and sits down outside the circle, crossing her legs, and she closes her eyes to start meditating with the Jedi Master. This would then be a good time for a cutaway to go back to some of the shenanigans that happened in the fleet, because nobody in the fleet had really brain one when it come to military tactics. Anyway, cut back to Rey and Luke. The debris in the air starts to slowly settle to the ground, and the electricity, the static feeling in the air begins to calm and eventually evaporate. Luke opens his eyes and looks at Rey, and he says, "Welcome. It's been a long time, Rey." Just a very calm look on his face. Rey looks back at him. "Do you know me?" "Very well. And I've missed you." Rey is confused, but she remembers her mission. She reaches into her pack and she pulls out the lightsaber. She goes to hand it to him. Luke holds out one hand. The lightsaber levitates through the air to come to rest in his palm. He activates it, seeing the bright blue blade burst into being. Lightsabers are awesome. He looks back at Rey and he says, "We have a lot of work to do." I feel like that would have been a much more mysterious and grand kind of reintroduction to Luke Skywalker. I mean, he's been away for years studying the Force, and instead of being this total badass Jedi Master, he's a cranky old man who lives in a burned out old town and just doesn't care about anything anymore because he's too afraid to care. I really feel like something like that would have been, it would have been a lot better than what we got. Anyway, I'm thinking about writing down the rest of my ideas for the scene and kind of rewriting all of Luke and Rey's scenes together, because I feel like it could have been a much stronger scene. I feel like it could have been a much stronger story than what we got. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe, because nobody's done that for me yet. Peace.